A large proportion of good, kind, generous British people are at their wits' end. Illegal migration, mainly those coming via small boats, has spiralled out of control. And that, coupled with hard-working British people struggling to make ends meet with the heavy burden of high taxation whilst watching the generosity meted out to those who've put nothing into the system, I believe, for economic reasons, having fled the safety of France, is what has outraged the British public. And that's me included. And the pace and the levels of both illegal and legal migration has forced many Brits to make their voices heard. Yesterday, Unite the Kingdom, a mainly peaceful protest organised by Tommy Robinson, was Brits speaking out on this fiasco.
This is an event to unify the British public. These people that you see in this crowd, they're not far right. These are just normal, regular Brits who want to send this government a message.
For too long, we've been forced to demonise what it means to be British. Take the schoolgirl who, on the school's cultural day, chose to dress up in a Union Jack dress and don the flag.
She was taking part in a culture diversity day, which was held by the school. She got as far as the school gates, and I think the school stopped her and told her that she wasn't eligible to take part in the events that day.
It's ridiculous. What? Do we not have a cultural identity? We are scared and unsure as to whether we're allowed to celebrate our cultural identity, which is being slowly eroded by mass, uncontrolled migration. And dare you hold a Union Jack or St George flag, you'll be seen as a racist. It's ludicrous. And no, being British doesn't mean being white for those in the Stand Up to Racism camp. It means joining in and being part of the culture that is British, celebrating the things that have made this country great and contributing in a positive manner to the betterment of this wonderfully generous union. You wouldn't let a stranger into your house irrespective of their colour, so stop weaponising genuine concern for the safety of the British public and conflating it with racism. There is no country on the earth that is as generous as the UK. And those coming here via dinghy know this. That's why they've bypassed loads of other perfectly safe countries to get here and are prepared to pay up to £5,000 to escape the safety of France. Our government have been useless in stemming the flow with nonsense proposals like
to go after the criminal gangs, to smash the gang networks.
To smash the smuggling gangs.
Smash the gangs.
To smash the gangs.
So this coming week, we'll apparently see the fruits of the one-in, one-out scheme, which apparently they will expand. Funny that, they rejected the Rwanda scheme, which also had the capacity to expand, claiming that the numbers were too small and calling it a gimmick. We deserve better from our politicians who are, in the main, unaffected by the issues that unvetted mass migration brings. Above all, it's costing us a fortune. If they truly cared about the British people, why are they letting unvetted people who have come here illegally roam the streets? Detain them. It's not rocket science. It's time to take back control of our British identity and wave the flag of our great union proudly.
Hello, I'm Bev Turner. Now, it can feel like the money in our bank accounts at the moment does not keep up with the cost of living, and maybe there's a solution. I'm here today with the CEO of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. Cameron, what is TallyMoney?
Well, Bev, with TallyMoney, you get a current account and a debit card, but instead of pounds, you use milligrams of gold as your everyday money.
So why gold?
Gold traditionally is a great store of value. It has, on average, gone up at over 11% per annum for the last 25 years against the pound. It's tripled in value in the last decade, and in the last 2 years alone, it's increased by 50% against the pound. Banks' savings products just can't compete with that level of growth.
But this isn't just about gold. This is about a currency that you guys have created at TallyMoney. Explain it to me as though I'm an idiot.
So, look, people need to be able to hold their earnings and build their savings in a money that retains its value and remains in their legal control and remains theirs to access, away from government control.
Great. You had me at not exposed to government control.
You should feel safe and happy with your money. You should have peace of mind the more money you see in your bank balance, and that's the type of thing we're trying to deliver and give people choice in the type of money they get to use every day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you.
So joining me now for reaction to my niggle is Dr. Krish Kandiah, who's the founder of the Sanctuary Foundation. Krish, really good to talk to you. Now, come on.
Good afternoon, Nana.
The words unite the kingdom are people of all creeds, colours coming together to promote what is deemed as British values and British culture, celebrating that and encouraging the government to act on the issue of mass illegal and legal migration. That's not racist, is it?
No, it's not racist to have a peaceful demonstration. And one positive thing I can say about yesterday is it proves that freedom of speech is alive and well in our country. If you're right, 150,000 people were on the streets and they weren't being stopped from expressing their opinions. I am concerned that 26 police officers were assaulted. These are hard-working public servants, the best of us. And why would they be assaulted for just keeping the peace? That doesn't seem appropriate. I'm worried about international intervention. We gave platform to a non-British citizen, Elon Musk, who told us that violence was coming and that the government ought to be brought down. I'm not sure a rogue billionaire should really be telling our government what to do.
Well,
he also said that we should fight or die, and that didn't sound like a very unifying message to me. It sounds like he's asking people to rise up in violent protest. And I had friends that were there who were reporting for a Christian newspaper about these events, and when they asked very simple questions to the audience, they were punched and kicked. So it may be that the majority of people were peaceful, but there was definitely some violence going on, some very racist chanting and placards. And you also had a French far-right politician spout a conspiracy about the great European replacement and blaming people from the south. That's people like you and me from overtaking Europeans in this country. So I'm not sure it was a peaceful, fair-minded demonstration. It was led by someone who's got a convicted criminal record for assault on an off-duty police officer, headbutting a person at a rally. Tommy Robinson has pleaded guilty to these charges.
Yeah, but
why did we assume that he's going to be a peaceful person?
Chris, OK, so past things that people have done in the past, I don't necessarily think are necessarily relevant. I mean, my
think that about Jeffrey Epstein,
sorry.
Sure, do you?
No. You spoke. I listened. No, Chris. You
Peter
spoke.
No,
please. You spoke. I listened. Now I'm speaking, if you don't mind. OK, so first of all, what someone has done in the past, and whether you've got that accurate and all of that, is neither here nor there. My fiancé, he went into prison for armed robbery. That was many, many years ago. If I was to judge him on what he did in the past, and you included, if we spent our time making judgments on people for what they did 20 or how many years ago, we wouldn't get anywhere. So first of all, this was in the main peaceful, OK? Most of the people there were protesting peacefully for something that is a genuine concern to them. And I'm sick of them being demonised as being far right because some people have chanted something horrible. People from the Stand Up to Racism were quite happy and shouting things like, he's in a box, he's in a box, relating to Charlie Kirk. And there have been many people on the left and in that camp who have been completely awful. We also don't know whether those arrested were from the Stand Up to Racism side as well. As we've seen in many protests, it is from both sides. Now, if I was to look at Notting Hill Carnival and talk about the number of arrests there, they pale into insignificance it pales into insignificance when you compare the two. See, Notting Hill Carnival had over 400 arrests. Many police officers were armed, and it was an absolute shambles for many people there. So if we're talking about this particular incident, I would say that British people are standing up and speaking, and I don't think it's fair to demonise people, normal, sensible British people who are protesting peacefully because a few people say some bad things.
Well, I've met your fiancé and he's a lovely guy,
Exactly.
So I agree, everyone can have a second chance.
Right.
But Tommy Robinson recently he attacked someone with a hammer at a station. That wasn't distant past.
That was the charges were dropped. There were the charges were dropped, remember? So
There's
that was
video evidence.
But the charges were dropped. So
Tommy Robinson is also considered so far right that Nigel Farage has distanced himself from him. So he's not our kind of local hero. He has a violent past and he's used to inciting violence.
Yeah, but he wasn't saying that. In fact, if you listen to the messaging that he gave, he was saying, everybody make this peaceful. We don't want people to try and claim that we're racist thugs and everything. So we've got to make this peaceful. That was his message. He said, don't let them allow you to dissolve into violence because otherwise they will discredit our message. That's what he was saying. He was encouraging peace. Surely you have to acknowledge that.
The people I heard from the stage, one was Elon Musk. Are you saying he didn't say violence is coming and it's time to fight or die? That doesn't sound like a message of peace, Nana.
Yeah, but you were talking about Tommy Robinson, so I'm correcting you and saying that Tommy Robinson
gave platform to Elon Musk. He broadcast a pre-recorded message that we all saw, and he also made space for a French far-right speaker whose name is, what was his name again?
What is
Eric
his name?
Zemmour. He was also given airtime. So you can't control what the whole crowd does, but you can control who you give platform to. And those were voices that march gave platform to, and they weren't calling for peace. They were saying that we're being replaced by the people from the south. You know, my country I was born here, but my family are from India and Malaysia. I know your family have heritage in Ghana. Those are the south, and they're saying that we are overtaking the country. I don't, as you look at that crowd on the screen right now, it doesn't look a very diverse crowd. Do you know why?
Well, there were
people of colour felt very nervous about being on the streets of London.
There wasn't a very
Would you have felt safe walking around during this event?
I would have loved to have gone to it. I would have loved to have gone to it. That's not true. Remember, you're in an 85% white country, so it's kind of unfair to expect an exact representation. Let's be realistic about this. Of course, it was diverse. There are plenty. Chris, there are plenty of pictures of people of colour there celebrating. A man dressed in a complete Union Jack suit. There are plenty of people there of colour. I would have been there had I not been working. So that's... And people talking about replacement theories, yes, as you said, it's freedom of speech. Whether the people there don't necessarily all have to agree with all of his words. And I wasn't there to vouch for it. But the underlying message for the people there is that they want the country to be united and they want the government to deal with mass unvetted migration and mass migration, legal migration, which is unsustainable. And not because it is not what colour people are, it is what they're bringing to the table and whether this country can handle it. And I don't think we can. Final word to you. You've got about 10 seconds, Chris.
No, always a pleasure. I think we're going to agree to disagree on this one. I'm pretty nervous about the direction and travel of our nation. I'm worried that people of colour, immigrants, are going to feel less and less welcome in our country. People didn't have their passports checked before people shouted abuse at them. That's what happened to my friends that were there yesterday. Send them home, send them home. That doesn't sound like a message of unity and peace to me.
Well, were they in the stand-up to racism camp? Because I'm wondering. But listen, I would have gone there donning my Union Jack dress and I would have cheered to the hilt to unite this country because I think that's a good message. Chris Candiar, thank you very much. Really good to talk to you. That's Dr. Chris Candiar. He is the founder of the Sanctuary Foundation.